Have you ever questioned why fear and paranoia seem like such challenging problems to solve? Have you ever struggled to overcome nervousness only to feel disappointed in the results and feel worse over time? If you've just answered yes to all of those questions, then you're being fooled by anxiety. Some of you even blame yourselves for why anxiety exists, and in some cases, you should. So what is anxiety? You see, we don't know it, but anxiety is a collection of our own conspiracy theories that we eventually believe in. It's you being deceived into feeling fear in the absence of any danger in the first place. Your protective instinct is what leads you to get tricked in defending yourself. That's right. Your protective instinct is what leads you to get tricked in defending yourself. You see, when you feel a panic attack is occurring, your consciousness suddenly tells you to stop breathing and hold your breath. That's anxiety's trick playing on you. When your OCD kicks in and you're still not happy with what's been achieved, that's anxiety having a hold on you. When you start questioning everything and think, what if this goes wrong? What if that isn't good enough? That's anxiety playing with your thoughts. And when you start worrying about things that haven't come to an end or result, or worrying about things in your head that don't exist and put yourself through a period of false beliefs, believing your own made up thoughts and conspiracies, guess what? Yeah, you're right. You're being tricked by anxiety. What you've done here is allowed anxiety, your worst enemy, to become your best friend. Right now, at this moment, at this point, you might be wondering and asking yourself, why can't I see this pattern occurring again and again? The answer is this. You took these defensive stages when there was no calamity. You then believed that these stages safeguarded you from a calamity. Having that thought worries you that this might happen again, and so you end up making sure that your defense is always up. Your so-called safeguard is never down. That then encourages that you're extremely vulnerable and you must endlessly protect yourself. Wow, anxiety, wow. You really have a way of playing with people's minds. But guys, the genuine reason you didn't experience a calamity, a catastrophe, an issue or a problem, and it was somehow resolved, is that such calamities are characteristically not part of being fair or because of a danger exists. This is anxiety playing with your mind, making you believe there is a calamity or an issue or a problem in the first place, making you believe you've just had a narrow escape and anxiety has helped you to come out of this at the end. The reason you get through the experience realistically, okay, the reason you get through the experience of anxiety isn't because you've just had a narrow escape with danger. It's because realistically there isn't a danger or catastrophe in the first place. Because if there was, when you come out of anxiety, it would still be there, but it's not. It's your defensive stages which help feed anxiety what it wants to continue playing with the moments in your life. If you even think that you just narrowly escaped a calamity because you opened your phone to access social media platforms to make you feel better, or because you went back to check the iron a gazillion times, or because you plugged in headphones and distracted yourself with some music, then your vulnerability towards anxiety is going to intensify, is going to grow. Which means you're always going to try and defend yourself every single time, allowing yourself to be trapped in false calmness. That is how you let anxiety embed itself in your life. You think you're helping yourself, but you've actually been tricked into making it worse. That's how malicious and two-faced this so-called best friend anxiety is. And every time anxiety wages a war on you and you just can't control that feeling, you end up in a state of excessive worrying, feeling agitated, becoming restless, easily fatigued, difficult concentrating, extremely irritable, and muscles that tense up. You feel numbness, a tingling in the hands and the body, dizziness, chest pains, headaches, nervous stomachs, burning skin, nausea, shorten of breaths, weakness of legs, electric shocks all over the body. Your heart's palpitations are so loud that you can hear them through your ears, not being able to sleep, insomnia, and feeling like you're going crazy and that you've lost your mind. I knew what that felt like once upon a time. Do you want to feel, or do you want that feeling to be once upon a time for you? Do you want to feel like you are in control? Do you want to overcome anxiety? To let anxiety know that I ain't opening the door and there is no way I'm inviting you in my world? Then listen to me very, very carefully. You see, comrades, this thing that makes your fear and attacks so persistent is that practically anything you do to combat, run, or distract from the anxious feelings and thoughts that you're having in that anxious moment of anxiety will be turned against you and make the anxiety a more persistent part of your life. If you come to understand that what you're doing is putting out the fire with fuel, then you've got the keys in the ignition. You just now need to drive. And if you can't drive because something is holding you back, then listen to these words very, very carefully. Just listen to these. The voices in your head are not real. They are not you. They are part of your subconsciousness, and that deceives the neuroscience within your brain to answer your own questions with a negative outcome. You are in control of yourself, not the voices, not someone else, not certainly anxiety. Learn the fact that you own what you create. Okay? You own what you create. You own anxiety. Anxiety doesn't own you. Don't let something you created take over you. If you feel anxious and feel about, you feel like you're drowning into anxiety and get worried that depression will follow, then shout out what you're feeling. Shout it out loud. Talk to that one person who you trust and who you find comfort in. That's someone who genuinely has a desire to see you happy. Get moving. Do an activity that raises the endorphin and serotonin levels within your body to help you feel better emotionally and psychologically. Because when you feel great on the inside, your entire outlook improves instantly. You know what? Why don't you go and try dancing? You'll be surprised at what the outcome is when you're anxious, when you're in anxiety. If your relationship with caffeine is active, then break up and stop having that affair. Because caffeine hits your nervous system with a surprise, which can boost energy levels. But when you're feeling anxious, this turns into a nervous energy that can induce an anxiety attack. And learn to say no. Whether it's driving someone around, picking up things for other people, or agreeing to listen to others' problems, learn to say no. Because the outcome, if you don't say no, will be that you won't have the strength to care for your personal affairs if you spend almost all your energy caring for others. This doesn't mean you stop saying no every single time. It just means you shouldn't be afraid to say no when you need it the most and when you need to. People with anxiety find it hard to live in the moment. Instead of recognizing the present day, you're contemplating about the future difficulties ahead, tomorrow's worries. And depending on how severe your anxiety is, you might be stressing about yesterday's mistakes. For this last moment, I'm going to finish off with this. You cannot control what the future holds. You cannot change what has already happened, what has passed. So how about you do this? Take each day as it comes. Don't put too much focus on what has been and what will be, that you create anxiety for yourself. And most importantly, go easy on yourself. I read somewhere that whatever you do today, let it be enough. Remember, you're strong and you've got this. Peace.